Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the online career guidance program for the NASPA AAK district and all other districts joining us. Thank you so much for making time, and it is my honor and pleasure to join you again as your facilitator. We've been running this for the past 3 weeks. We've been having a lot of topics that we've been discussing. Definitely, I know I've enjoyed myself, and I hope you have as well. And today we are going to talk about networking and the power that it has to unlock doors for you in your career. And so I hope you sit down, relax, have a notepad or a pen and paper if you have one, and take some notes. Prepare to ask some questions, and we'll go ahead and dive in. Also, just a quick reminder. Um, I hope everyone is staying safe during this pandemic. I know that cases seem to be rising in Ghana, and we should definitely wear face masks, wash our hands, and take the necessary precautions. So please stay safe out there and take good care of yourselves. All right, let's jump in. Today we're going to talk about networking. And what I'm going to start with is the definition. So, what is networking? According to Investopedia, which is kind of an investment or business, you know, Wikipedia or kind of a business encyclopedia website, Investopedia defines networking as the exchange of information and ideas among people with a common profession or special interest, usually in an informal social setting. And what I want to add is Americans love to use happy hours and corporate events for these kinds of things, but there can be others too, like virtual meetings, which can be used to meet people where people can exchange information, um, and usually it happens between people who have some kind of a common ground. Either it's a common profession, or they come from the same country, or there's the same maybe religion, or but there's always our common ground. Maybe they work for the same company, right? And that's how the connection starts, the networking starts, the exchange of information and ideas. uh, Networking, it goes on to say, Investopedia goes on to say that networking is used by professionals to expand their circles of acquaintances, to find out about job opportunities in their fields, and to increase their awareness of news and trends in their fields or in the greater world. So, what it's trying to do there is kind of give you a little bit about the benefits of networking, or the purpose of networking. Um, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But essentially, keep in mind why, why are you networking, right? Why the reason why you're networking is because you'd like to expand your circle of acquaintances, find out about job opportunities, and increase your awareness of news and trends in the world. This is like one of like the fundamental set of reasons why people network, in terms of meeting other people and getting to learn all these, and also share what they know with them. Let's look at how the Open University defines networking. So according to the Open University, networking is a very deliberate and conscious act, right? This is perhaps not a definition, but how they describe networking. It's a very deliberate and conscious act, which means that you have to do it. You have to put it into gear, into effect. If you don't step out and do it in terms of reaching out to someone, talking to them about what you'd like to learn, and or how they can be of help to you, there's no networking, there's no connection there. So it's important that you take the initiative. It's deliberate, it's a conscious act. The other thing is, it does not happen by accident, right? Maybe sometimes maybe it might. Maybe you go into work and you just bump into someone, and all of a sudden they become your friend. Maybe you're sitting in a plane, as I did some 8 years ago, and you're heading to a new country, and you're sitting next to a gentleman or a woman who works for a company that maybe you might be interested in working for. So, and maybe all of a sudden a conversation starts between the two of you. So keep that in mind. It's not necessarily, uh, you know, uh, something that just happens, but you could be put in a circumstance that allows it to be easier for you to take that initiative. Also, good networking is a two-way process, right? It is as much about answering the question, how can I help, as it is about what can I get, right? And I'll come to that in a little bit, but it's all about thinking win-win, right? If some of you have read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits that Dr. Stephen Covey, talks about is think win-win. Always think about how you can give to the person as much as they give to you. So it's not a one-sided affair. It's a give and take. Always remember to give and share the information or the opportunities when you're networking. So that's a pretty interesting definition and interesting description of networking. Now let me recommend one book that I read. It was actually shared with me by one of my former bosses at one of my former IT jobs. It's actually a Ghanaian man, very nice to me, and he shared the book "Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty" by Harvey Mackay. Harvey Mackay is the author of the book, and the title again is "Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty." I enjoyed reading that book because it lit my mind to the fact that you don't know when you're going to be in trouble. You have no idea when something is going to happen where you just need someone to talk to, someone to lend you some money, someone to help you in some form or fashion. And so the best you can do is be at peace with all people you meet, build networks and friendships with as many people as you can. And when that time of need comes, what he says is that, well, you would have already dug it. Don't wait till the last minute before you start going out to say, oh, I'm networking. No. You have to have already built that trust, already built that relationship before you can say, okay, I can go to this person and ask for help. I mean, think about it. If you were in someone else's shoes and you didn't know someone so well, and then they just walked up to you and said, oh, I need your help. Can you give me 10,000 Ghana cedis? And the person doesn't know you, they don't trust you, they've never met you. How can they give you that kind of money or help you in another way? So always remember, dig your well before you're thirsty. And I recommend this book to all of you. Any of you, please take that time. If you can find it online, do go get it, read it, or at least look for reviews of it on YouTube so you can learn more about what it says. I actually have an example of someone who maybe, let's say, failed to heed the advice of what the book said, right? Obviously, I'm not saying he read the book, but the lesson learned and the wisdom in that is basically that you know people, or you build relationships before you need people, right? And so when you think about it, this friend or colleague of mine from college, he waited until graduation, right? After he had graduated or just about to graduate, before he started looking for jobs and opportunities in the community in which we lived, right? Which was Moorhead in Minnesota, as well as Fargo, North Dakota, back in the US, right? And my boss at that time, again, the Ghanaian man, he was just very curious, because it's like, why is it taking this guy's all this while before he's starting to go into the community and pass his resume or CV around? Why hasn't he done this since day one of getting to college? Why didn't he go out, meet people, greet people, go to career events? but he didn't, thinking that maybe once he graduates or just about to graduate, he'll be able to go out and just get a job. Unfortunately for him, that's not how life works. And so when he was out there struggling and trying to share, his resume and CV and all of that, he was trying to also get me involved. Like, oh my God, help me, help me. It's like, come on. You should have built some relationships. You should have met some people. You should have gone to some career fairs. You should have kept some numbers, called people, checked up on them, build a relationship so that when you graduate, you have someone who can help you get that job or get that opportunity. So please remember, if you can have an internship, go ahead before you graduate. But for you guys, you've already graduated, and so maybe this is advice you can pass on to the younger generation. But always try to be at peace with as many people as you can. Be nice to people, be kind to people, build relationships with people that you genuinely feel drawn to. You can't network with everybody, but choose and be strategic about the people who are in your field, the people who have who you think you can benefit from, and who can benefit from you. So don't just go out meeting everybody, but be very strategic and careful about it, and I'm sure you'll be fine. The next I want to emphasize is the keyword in networking, which is what I strongly believe in. It's all about relationships. Relationships. If and relationships can be in so many ways. The Greek had and they still have, 4 words that describe the word love. They have agape, eros, stoge, and phileo, right? I'm not going to go into all of the details, but you can see by their definition, or their groupings of these types of love. They're trying to say, look, there are different types of relationships in life, and phileo is being a friend, right? Is the love of a friend. Phileo is the love of a friend, and maybe that's the closest I can use to describe networking, because you build a relationship, you build a friendship. It's an acquaintance, maybe to go way longer, maybe a long term. Maybe even the person can come to your wedding, can come to your child's naming ceremony. You can build a relationship to the extent that you want, but it starts with being an acquaintance, being a friend, being someone you can talk to about certain issues and certain ideas. So keep in mind, it's all about relationships. And why? Because people are more likely to trust you when they know you, and they know your character, and they know the kind of person you are. If they know you and they know the kind of person you are, they will trust you. And that's one of the greatest things you could ever have, is somebody to trust you and believe in you. So let's go deeper into why it's important to network, right? How can we benefit from it in our career, and what kind of other things come with it? For me, networking is all about building mutually beneficial relationships, as I've said, and this is truly where the benefit comes from, right? So you'll be able to have people who share opportunities with you. When people get an opportunity, let's say in a company, or at a certain organization, they normally call the person that they know, if they know that person can help or do that work. They're not going to call the strangers first. Usually, this is human nature. They're going to call the person they know and the person they trust. Even sometimes people will call people with this just similar backgrounds as they have, like cultural backgrounds, tribal backgrounds, racial backgrounds, and it's always it's not always right, because sometimes competency can suffer if people go along those kinds of lines. But it's human nature. We are drawn to people we know, people we feel comfortable with. And we must always push for people doing the right thing. But think about it, networking will put you ahead in getting to know about opportunities in companies and other places. Um, it also helps with referrals, right? That's the second thing, referrals. And I have a story where, when I was about to graduate from school, at Concordia in Moorhead in the United States. I was so worried about what was going to come next. I didn't know how I was going to remain in the US because I wanted to work for some time before coming back home. Um, and even though they give you 1 year, I really wanted something that would give me a work visa, right, to stay a little longer. Um, and so I was hoping to get into one of the big four audit firms, right? And one of the main ones on my list was Deloitte because my brother was there. But also, I needed a friend who would be able to stand up for me or speak on my behalf to the firm and help me get in. But I if I and there was a friend of mine who came around. His name was Matt, and I always share this story to so many people because Matt came in and he said, "Look, I'm going to help you. You keep on applying to other places, but I'm going to take your resume. I'm going to help you improve your resume, and I'm going to take your resume and take it to the partners. I'm going to talk to them about you and let them know that look, I know you. I've networked with you, not just networked, but we've built a friendship and you and I have worked on so many projects because we had during the course of the time in college. He and I worked on so many projects, and we actually built the first social entrepreneurial incubator for the school, right? And it was actually rebranded to Cobra Consulting. So we built that a social enterprise, a co-working space for the school, and through that work, we built a friendship. And he went and recommended me to a partner. And guess what? After 5 times of trying, on that fifth time, right? And it wasn't even easy for him, but he kept trying. On that fifth time, I got into Deloitte in Minneapolis, and thankfully the interview went well and I got hired. All this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for my friend and how he and I had built a relationship through college. And initially, I wasn't even interested in working on those projects with him because I was so busy. But just take that step. That's why the Open University says it's a conscious effort. It's a conscious effort. You have to take that step to meet people and get to know them. So if you want those referrals, start networking and meeting people. Um, Also, it will help you to get interviews and job offers. Even when you are referred and you go in for the interview, building a relationship with the interviewer, building a relationship with your coworkers that you meet on that day will help you to get the job. If you don't build those relationships, if you don't come off as affable and relatable and friendly, people will not gravitate towards you, and that's your loss, right? So make sure you build that relationship, send them a note to say thank you for the interview, and then you get your foot in the door with a job offer, right? So do your best to keep that in mind as one of the benefits of networking. The other thing now, moving a little bit away from jobs, is the business world and what networking can do for you. It can open you to so many opportunities in terms of business and investments, right? It really works because sometimes you just need a loan. You need someone to give you a loan, or you need to find out what's the best vendor for this thing. How do you solve this customer problem? How do you integrate technology in your company or in your business model? All these things. If you have networks, you have people who can help you, you'll be taken care of, right? I noticed this along the US. I noticed this along the US. People were very loyal to the businesses and companies that they felt an affiliation with. Basically, the ones that built the best relationships with their customers were loyal back. Like it was like a mirror reflection, right? You're good to me, I'm good to you, and that's how it was with most of these people in the U.S. Also, if you're a business or kind of a professional, it can help you gain clients as a lawyer, as a doctor, as an auditor. If you are building networks, getting to meet new people, new companies, new businesses, you're able to gain new clients. And that's how it works. It's not just about the technical skills, but those relationships help you also gain new clients for your business. Also, it helps you to help others, right? I know I've been talking about the benefits to us, but also you help others. You can go to the community and serve just because you've built a network. I remember there was a colleague of mine at Deloitte, and because of our friendship and what the relationship we had built, he was able to get me to volunteer for a program called Junior Achievement in the US, which is a program for adults to go to middle schools and high schools in the US, elementary schools even, to teach these young kids and inspire them to do better as they grow older, to do better in school, to think of businesses and dream big of the kind of professions they can aspire to. So it's always great. You can give back to so many people. You can help others. I'm helping you now with this program simply because a friend of mine who lives in New Zealand told me about this program, which your president Solomon had discussed with another person who knew my friend in New Zealand. So you see how the connection goes, how knowing people and building that network can help you in the long run. Also, as I've said already, it helps you to share information and ideas. And ideas are so important. The world changes based on ideas. You come up with an idea like Facebook, you're a billionaire, right? So keep that in mind. So according to Forbes, networking makes you noticeable. It helps you to reassess the qualification of your profession. So if you think you've reached the top, networking will help you to challenge that and reach for a higher level. It improves your creative intellect. It serves as an extra resource library and offers support from high profile individuals. There are just some people you can't meet unless you network. You can't know everybody, so the person you know who knows another person knows another person may one day introduce you to the president. And before you know it, you are sitting in the presidential palace or the Jubilee House and meeting the president. It can happen. You just don't know. You never know. And then they also say it gives you a growth in self-confidence because of you feel, okay, I know people who trust me, who can speak on my behalf. And also it builds a long-lasting relationship, and the relationship can go as long as you want it, but think about it. If you build a long-lasting relationship, you benefit a lot. I cannot think of any job except one in the US that I got without having known someone already in that company or who could get me into that job to help me by way of networking. I can't think of any except one. And that tells you something, that networking has been the thing that's opened the doors for me, and I know it has opened the doors for many of you, and it will continue to do that. Let's look at some of the networking tools you can use, right? So fundamentally, websites, if you're an organization, websites are there so people can go and visit and see what your company organization does. So a website is good, or a blog. Some of you might use a blog. So, that's one way of setting yourself up online for people to see you. WhatsApp, we're having this programs because of WhatsApp or on WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp is a great place, either by, reaching out to new people, or just by way of being able to talk and text and have video calls. You can end up networking with people you never thought you could reach. Also, LinkedIn and other social media. Now, this is a touchy one. You have to be careful how you present yourself on social media from a career standpoint. And I think maybe we'll cover this a little bit later in our program series. But always make sure your posts are clean and don't have things like drunkenness and a lot of craziness going on and sexual immorality and all of that, because the companies are watching. They may not tell you, but companies are going to watch. They watch your Facebook, they watch your Twitter page, they watch your LinkedIn page. So make sure it's up to date, especially for LinkedIn, and make sure you're doing all the necessary steps to keep it up to date and that your profile is always clean. You can reach people through emails, letters, which is a little bit old school. Also, obviously, in-person gatherings. Due to COVID-19, we may not have a lot of that right now, but in-person gatherings are amazing. Being in the room to shake someone's hand and look into their eyes, smile, and get that response is what really moves people, because we're human beings and we are social beings. So if you have career fairs, again, COVID 19, and so we are not going to, you probably should be going to a lot of these right now. But when things get back to the new normal, go back to your career fairs, go back to places where you can meet people, go back to internships and events, corporate events, fairs, and all these places, and interact and meet people. Please, it's very important. You can meet people at sometimes parties. Some people meet them at churches and mosques, clubs, or professional organizations like NASPA, which you're a member of, or like ICAG, which is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Ghana. All right, let's start to wrap it up. Let's talk about some quick reminders. So, for me, I believe networking is a conscious effort, but it has to be natural. It has to be natural. I can't approach people and force myself on them. If I'm not feeling the same response, I move to the next person or the person that I feel I can connect with. So it's not by force. It's not, you don't which is a Ghanaian colloquial. But just make sure you have a similar response or vibe coming back to you. Make sure it's natural. Don't force it. Always think win-win, right? Always update your LinkedIn profile, so because employers are watching, headhunters, people who are recruiting are watching. Also have your business card at networking event. If you go to a networking event, always carry your business card. If you don't have some, make sure you print some out. It's very easy. Go online, create it, print it out, and cut it yourself. Make it very nice and presentable, and you just hand it out. I'll tell them to go to your LinkedIn page, but it's good when you have it, because then they can call you when there's a job opportunity or when they need your help. Always look good, right? Look good and be confident when you're networking and meeting people. And don't be afraid to reach out to people who are or seem powerful, right? People like the president, the MPs, people like CEOs and CFOs, people who seem at such a high level in society, diplomats, heads of organizations. I'm guilty of this, but let's all try to not be afraid to reach out to them if there's a need and if there's a connection there, right? They are human, just like we are. And the worst that can happen is that you get ignored. But even that, you tried. And that's the best and the least you can do. So always remember, networking unlocks doors, and it's one of the best tools, one of the best things you could use for your career building approach. And always keep in mind that you also deserve the best, but you can also give your best. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.